What was that video you put up of me?
That was some TikTok I found.
I was laughing.
I'm like, what the hell is this? All right.
Bump of the Night Society presents Exploring Your Society. I'm your host, Sean Bowman. Jen, say what's up.
What's up?
Today we have Kalani, the ghost hunter, with us. Say what's up, Kalani.
What's up?
But yeah, I try to always find something goofy to like fuck around with people, and that's why
you have plenty of footage of me. So.
I
don't know if you saw the promo video I did, Kalani, but originally I had Phil in it, and I put a little like cowboy hat on him because he didn't have an actual picture with a cowboy hat on.
You all had cowboy hats on. It's like that is just that. If you think of a cowboy hat and you think of ghosts, it's you. That's you. It goes.
That's actually Phil that just commented.
I need to get like a one made that I can wear headphones with, but it just looks goofy, so I just don't wear it.
Get like a massive pair that just like goes over your head. Awesome. What does this say? I can't even.
He's asking where the hat is.
Yeah, you can't wear the hat with the headphones.
Could wear like a spaceman helmet.
I could like cut the middle out.
There you go.
He's got to get some earbuds and just put them inside the hat.
I should do that. I don't know. This is all I had up in the asylum, so I was like, well, this is better than desktop audio, so we're gonna run with this.
I don't have anything, so I'm just talking through my phone. Well, the one time I tried to get something, I don't know, they were Sean's and they kept falling out of it was a mess. It just looked like my ears were leaking out. So go ahead, Sean.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us where you're at right now?
So I am sitting in the back house at Madison Seminary. I have been here this is my third day. Each night this week we have a different guest that is coming in. So tonight we have a Twitch streamer by the name of D-Tune here, but every night I bring in somebody new, and I live here for an entire week. And then we have an event on Saturday.
That's awesome. How did you get involved with the paranormal?
So my paranormal story started when I was 11. I saw a Civil War drummer boy. And then, like many other people that are around my age that got into the paranormal, it was ghost adventures that brought me in. But we quickly learn after that point what it kind of moves into. But I used to watch the shows with my dad. And then I first went when I turned 18 on a ghost hunt. And then I've spent a lot of money ever since.
It is expensive. It is expensive. Well, for you, it's a job, like for us. Well, I say it's a hobby for us, but it's starting to like take over our lives. Like I have a very demanding job. Like I actually have I just ran a dance for 200 special needs adults on Sunday. And I'm exhausted, but just got to keep doing stuff. I don't know. I'm crazy. But it would be cool if I was 15 years younger. I would. Yeah,
it helps that I'm young because it is a lot of work, and in the beginning, before you ever make a cent, you're usually spending exponentially more to even get to the point where you can make money at it. But there's pros and cons to it. You tell people that's what you do, and if they're an investigator, they're obviously like, oh, I'd love to do that. But there are a lot of things that you do kind of have to give up to get to that point. But, I wouldn't change it. It's fun, and I enjoy what I do for work.
It's cool that you get to bring your wife along. I enjoy the video because I follow her on TikTok too. And is she coming to Bell?
She should be at the Bell.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to meet her. I'm looking forward to meeting her because I like her videos too. She kind of shows the other side of
she's not big into the paranormal. She got drug in because that's what I do. And obviously now she was either being stuck at home or she decided, it's either I get stuck at home or I go with him and do it. So she's not into the paranormal, but she gets drug into it because of me. So it's a nice juxtaposition because you've got somebody that is into it and somebody that really isn't, but they are capturing the adventure from a different perspective.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's cool. It's good that you guys can do that because I mean, I imagine like if she wasn't involved in it, just being away from each other, that would suck. So
yeah, because like we went to the Clown Motel and that was a 29-hour drive.
I want to go there so bad.
I had places we stopped at, but I was home for 18 hours and then I was heading up to Madison. So it's like the pace is very, very, very tough. But again, luckily I'm young, so it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. You definitely like work hard. Like if anybody says you don't, fuck off because he works hard. Excuse my language. But seriously, you do work hard. And I mean, speaking of all the hate, because I mean, I know even just us, what we do, there's people that, you think are your friends or whatever, and they're hateful, and I'm sure you have it times 100 coming at you. I know anytime I see anything that I think involves you, I'll be like, screenshot, I'll be like, hey, I saw this, and I'll send it on Snapchat. Because people suck. People suck.
Yeah, and it's just like people see it as a competition, but I try and explain to people all the time that there are so many people that are interested in it. And like for me personally, it really just comes down to a personality thing. Like there's people that'll watch me that won't watch other people, and there's people that'll watch other people that won't watch me. That's just the nature of entertainment in general, right? And so many people get fixated on numbers. Like, believe it or not, I watch my numbers because now it is my business. So that's part of my analytics and research. But like, I'm not like upset if I don't hit numbers on something or others. It seems like the people that are always talking and complaining about metrics are the ones that are watching it the most, and they're not really hitting the metrics. So it's like you can really see the intent and why people do this once you start seeing their complaints, because it's not about the investigation or the history or even the locations anymore. It turns into why my stuff isn't going anywhere. So it's like, do you really care about what you're doing, or are you just trying to be famous?
I know, and they'll be the first ones that'll say like, we just had a situation, and I don't really even care if he knows I'm talking about him if he happens to watch this, and I'm not going to say any names, but somebody we consider a friend, I'm pretty sure they made a post directed at us and kind of putting us down for like TikTok and all this stuff, and like, oh, my stuff's good, I don't know, like I have talent. Like, okay, well, you know what, you're obviously boring and nobody wants to watch you, and I'm not trying to be a dick, but like that is how it is. And I mean, like we do look into the history, we do all that, but like, yeah, we make some stupid videos. I am a jackass, I know that. And like some people think it's funny, some people think I'm stupid, and that's fine. But like, I don't know, like if your stuff's not doing well, then just like, I don't know, you need to keep at it. You need to keep, changing yourself till you find something that works. Don't put down people that are doing better than you are. That's my thing. Like there's so many
I think it's a lot of it's more the old school people that came up a certain way, and like they don't like these new TikTokers or like people acting like a fool and shit like that. Which I mean, we're done. You see us on camera, you see us at home, you see us in person, we're the same fucking people. Like everything that we've been making from day one has just been us. We haven't tried to like change or nothing. I'm sure you could say the same thing. Like it's just who you are,
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. Oh, you can go ahead, Jen.
Oh, I'm just saying, yeah, he's right. Like I'm like this at work. Like I'm like this everywhere. I'm like this with my parents. I'm like this with my kids. Like it's just.
Oh shit, we have a surprise here. Phil, you actually can make it.
Sorry about that, guys. My boss reminded me that I had like 2 courses I had to complete for work. I was like, motherfucker, of course that would happen. Nice to meet you guys. How you doing, Kalani?
Doing good. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, brother. Sorry about that, guys. Anyway, continue.
Okay, so what were you saying?
The biggest thing that I would say to people, because the people are always like, why is my stuff not doing good? First thing is, if you keep doing the same thing over and over again and it hasn't worked 200 times, why would it work the 201st? Secondly, so many people look at people that are successful in this field and they try and copy that formula and think that it's going to relate to them or give them the same results. But at the end of the day, it's like you're not going to be better than the original on like regardless of whatever you think about Zach Bagans, like he is the best person that can be Zach Bagans. No one can be Zach Bagans better than him. And you can.
There's so many people that try to take his formula too. Yeah.
And you're not going to beat him at what? Because why would they come to you when they can go to the original and get the best version of what you're trying to deliver? And that's the thing is like, stop trying to be somebody else. Just be who you are. And if it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be.
Exactly, too. And I could even like agree with that because if you're trying to compare yourself to others, you're going to drive yourself freaking crazy. You really are. It gets to that point where it gets like, you know what? Screw it. We are how we are. You like us, you don't. Okay. Whatever.
Well, people could tell you're fake too if you know.
Well, yeah.
That ain't who you really are.
Yeah, it's just ingenuine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I want you to tell me what happened at the Octagon house when you
I was trying to link the TikTok up. I was telling Kalani I was having issues with Facebook and that too, so I didn't have time to hook it up. I do have some stuff that we could hook onto YouTube, but
the Octagon house was interesting because that was the most recent, I guess, crazy thing I've had happen. Well, that's the first time I ever got detained on stream. So I had police show up. Somebody from Texas had called, and they said that I had broken in and that I was vandalizing the house. But what's crazy is I had already called, or I already had the Octagon house call the police department, because anytime I go anywhere to stream, the moment somebody knows I'm there, it's just like a beacon of, let's screw with Kalani if we can.
Yeah.
Because people love seeing the effect of something that they can do from their end on camera, because that's just for some reason what they want to do. So she calls the police and gives them all these stories, and the police knew I was there. They knew I was filming, but they came anyway, because if they don't come and there is something going on, then that falls back on them. But there was like 6 cops. They had their guns drawn. And we were doing an Estes session before they even showed up, and the words "they're coming" came through, and it had nothing to do with the question, nothing to do with what we were talking about. I was like, "Who's coming?" I literally said, "Who's coming?" And then, literally within 5 minutes, we hear pounding on the front door, and it was whatever the county was, sheriff's department, opened the door, and I'm like, because when they pulled up, they didn't have sirens on, they didn't have lights on, they literally like sneaked up to the tree line, and they all parked and like ran up to the door. So they didn't want anybody to know that they were coming. So anyways, they're beating on the door. I opened the door, and luckily the guy that was with me on that lockdown had his camera set up, and it was facing the door. So it captured the entire interaction. But yeah, they detained me, and once they verified my identity, let me go. But it was a nerve-wracking situation.
I'd crap myself. I would crap myself. Not gonna lie, man. I'd be like,
now, is this woman tried other shit with you before, or is that the first time she did that?
I don't know who it is. There's so many people that come in. It's like there's no way that I could try and keep up with her. They told me that the number came from Texas, so it was somebody from Texas. Which anytime I go to Texas and do anything, it's crazy. Like I went to Goatman's Bridge, and that's where I got shot at.
Oh, wow.
And within like a matter of like 40 minutes of me going live, there was probably about 200 people there that just swarmed that is a paranormal swatting. Yes. we had about 200 kids there when I was trying to investigate at Goatman's Bridge.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question, was about that, because I knew like you had all these people show up. Oh my God, that sounds like hell.
You see, I'm bald. I already look suspicious. So,
do you like keep your cool when you're doing this, or are you like, can you guys leave?
Yeah, I mean, because to them, it's just like they see on their phone somebody that to them is famous, so they want to come meet you. So it's like when I first started, it was nerve-wracking, and it still kind of is. It turns into me investigating to me babysitting all of my equipment because I don't want them to walk away.
Yeah.
But I mean, most of the time people just want to meet you and want to say they met somebody and take a picture or whatever. But I've kind of just gotten used to that aspect of it. Anytime I'm somewhere that they would have to, no, it was not successful. It was nice. I only had about 30 minutes until people started showing up. And
oh gosh,
it's like, that's one that if I go back and do it, it'll probably be a YouTube video, because then I don't have to announce that I'm there.
Yeah.
Because people are like, well, Kalani, why don't you just not say where you are? And I'm like, yeah, because everybody in the world wants to watch a stream on a place they don't know where it's at and don't know what it's about. Like, that's just part of the advertising is you kind of have to say where you're at and why somebody should watch what you're doing.
Now, do you have? I mean, I know you're a big boy, but do you have security ever? Do you go anywhere with security?
Some places I have security. Most of the time, I just have me and my old trusty for security. I mean, at the end of the day, no matter how big you are, that seems to be a pretty good solution.
Yeah, definitely. I am not allowed to have one.
She'd end up killing me or something, brother.
But yeah, I know Mikey carries something, a water gun.
Yeah, squirt bottle.
With holy water.
Because there's some places that are like, scary. Like, I always think like the time we went to House of Wills in Cleveland, like literally that area was so bad. Like we're getting in the car to leave. I think it was Phil, April, and I, and Mikey's trying to help. April always carries like so much stuff, trying to load her stuff in, and this car pulls in. I'm like, we're gonna die. We're dying. This is it. This is gonna be it. Like,
like
just...
the car like drove by the place, stopped, turned around, and faced our direction and didn't move. I'm like, yeah, we should probably get the hell out of here.
Yeah, that was scary. Like, so I know you don't get scared when you go places, but like, what was the most, I guess, scary thing that's happened?
So it has nothing to do with the paranormal, but I almost got mugged on a stream in Charleston, South Carolina. That was an interesting encounter. That was when I had first started too. So it's like you kind of learn how to deal with the situations the more that they come up. But paranormal wise, I had the door slam at Greenville, which that I don't ever get spooked usually, but because it all happened so fast and like it was so loud, I like popped real quick. But most of the time I'm chill because at the end of the day, I'm asking for stuff to happen. So like when it happens, why am I going to be surprised about it? If that makes sense.
Exactly.
Yeah. When I was in Greenville, actually, we were just there. I don't know, what was that? 4 weeks ago. And like when I've been there, I mean, I love the house. It's beautiful. I'm sorry that they aren't able to have it opened right now. But it was like, nothing really happens. So I'm downstairs in the basement, and we had like we had like brought people in that wanted to investigate with us, and I was doing SDs, and I had two mediums down there, and they were kind of asking questions, whatever. I'm in the corner, like facing the wall, and like I'm getting answers, and I don't know if they're answering questions because I can't hear them. But then over top of all the like white noise, it was like a male voice. It was like in my ear, and he was like, "Hey, girl," and I freaked out. Like I took them off, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Like I was like visibly. I mean, I went back and did it, but then I went upstairs, and they have a dog now, Marcus and Katie, and I like went up and pet the dog for like a half an hour because I was like emotional support animal because it just like freaked me out. And the two mediums seemed like a lurch-looking man, like kind of just like walking around like. I guess the back of the room, and I'm just like, oh, God. And like I don't normally get like that, but that like it was just so. So this last time I went to Hinsdale, I was like, I'm not doing the STs this time. Like I'll do it again. It's just I needed like a little bit of a from that.
We had a lot of stuff happen at Greenville, like way more than we've ever had before, and like I don't know. You would think with having a public because we had over 20 something people there, you would think you wouldn't really get a lot because usually it seems like when there's a big group, not a lot happens,
Yeah, I think even like Troy and his husband Sean, they actually had something happen. I think in the demon room with that light that they mentioned.
Yeah, they said they saw some bright light, both of them, or something.
Crazy stuff. I love that place. It's like you said, Jen. That place is like it's like another home to us almost.
Well, we got with we were upstairs and we got Leo, which is Mikey's son's name. And then we got Infant, which, like I said, he's a little baby. Yep. And then as that happened, I walkie-talkied him, and I was like, Mikey, you need to come up here right now. And it said Dad right when I was walkie-talkieing him, back to back to back. So that was kind of crazy.
Pretty cool.
My name was said 3 times on the Necrophonic and Sean's app. Then it said Demon after that. I'm like, okay, well, this is nice.
Well, there's supposed to be some like female spirit there now. So maybe maybe she wanted you to be her boyfriend.
Girl.
Talking about equipment in that though, Kalani, what's your go-to for equipment wise?
I have been I love the Estes method, and my wife, as much as she hates being my assistant secondhand camera person.
I like to say guinea pig or something.
No, she's actually gotten a lot braver. Like she's now just she first started, she was terrified. There's an Oddfellows orphanage in Pennsylvania that still terrifies her, but she's really good at Estes, and she can listen a lot better than me, which we already knew that. But she's able to almost channel. So we love doing Estes, and like all of my audience knows that Savannah is like the key to any investigation. If we want to get really weird, we will put her under the headphones and go into Estes. But I'm a big tech guy, so like any new little trinket and toy you can give me, I love using these different things. I mean, some of it's very archaic in its actual design, but it's just cool to have a variance. And for me doing everything live, it's obviously like you have to have so many different things for a viewer to see. So anything with visual feedback like tripwire or K2s, cat balls, like just the standard stuff. But I always tell people it's like no matter, even if all of this stuff is going off, you have to try and figure out the logical reason on why it's happening. And something that I have discovered recently is that the iPhone 14 Pro, because it has that satellite feature that now lets it connect to satellite if you don't have any cellular service, puts out a wider field of interference. So if you have a 14 Pro compared to a 13 Pro, you have to be further back to prevent your equipment from picking up on your phone.
I didn't even know. I have a 14 Pro. I had no idea.
That's really
I just use it. I don't know what I'm doing. That's what I do with any of this equipment. I'm like, how do you turn this thing on? All right, let's go.
And like different carriers have different effects too. So like if you have a Samsung on T-Mobile, it may put out a wider radius than a Samsung.
That's what I have.
So it's there's actually a lot of things that you can do to try and figure out like what your range is. And like I kind of have an idea because people are like, well, why don't you just put your phone in airplane mode? Like you can't stream phones in airplane mode. So it's like I have to know how that equipment is affected by what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So is there any like specific place you want to go that you haven't been to yet?
That was going to be my question. I was going to say bucket list.
Jonestown in South America.
Oh, I never heard of that place.
It's where Jim Jones made everybody drink the
Kool-Aid.
I don't even know that I would make that for content. Like that would be a place that I would like to go and investigate, but I don't even think I would make content out of it. I would just like to go there. And we had the Crescent it was 2 nights. One night to ourselves, and then they had people in there the second night. But it was an incredible experience because we had the entire Crescent Hotel to ourselves. So there was no guests, and all the lights were off too, which is an experience I never had before.
Yeah.
So that place has some very, very intelligent spirits for sure.
Where is Crescent Hotel
at? Eureka Springs, Arkansas.
Oh,
Arkansas.
And you do not feel like you are in Arkansas when you are in Eureka Springs.
What's it like compared to the rest of Arkansas?
A lot better. Nothing against my Arkansas folks, but let me tell you, it's like going up into the Gatlinburg almost because you climb all these mountains and then it's just like this beautiful little town, and then like 2 hours out, you're in the middle of nothing. So it's just quite the contrast.
You're from Tennessee, right?
Well, yeah. So I grew up in Tennessee. I was born in Vegas, but my dad's Hawaiian, so they moved from Hawaii to Nevada to Tennessee, where my mom's from.
Okay,
that's awesome, man.
You're like in the Nashville area, right?
Yeah, whenever I'm home.
Yeah.
Where my stuff is stored right now.
Oh man, what's home like?
18 hours. That's what home's like. That's all I've gotten in the past 3 weeks.
Do you think you'll move, or do you think you'll stay there? Or I know you're never home.
I think what we'll end up doing is probably getting a larger RV and just living in that, because that's pretty much what I'm doing now, except, because right now I have so much connectivity on the road because I have to with everything that I do. The only reasons I like being at home is because I have better internet and I love my bed. So if I can just get my bed into an RV and I have my internet, I'm set. You can send me anywhere. Because home for me is people, not necessarily a place.
Right, 100%. Yeah, it's like you can't have the actual home without the person who's occupying it, kind of thing.
For sure.
So I've always wanted to do that too. Just take like a big ass cross country like drive in a big ass RV. That'd be really cool.
It sounds good, but I mean, like, if I think if all 7 of our team was together, we'd probably murder each other by the time we got to the other side.
For sure.
Me being the obnoxious idiot that I am,
I would get bitchy like on the second day. I'd give it 2 days, and then
Phil doesn't know about that at all, right, Phil?
Wait, what happened, man?
About her getting bitchy.
So Phil, we call Phil our child because like he'll often ride in the back seat when we go places, and then him and I, like Sean and I'll start arguing, and Phil's just in the back, and he's just like, okay, and I'm like, I'm dropping you back off at home, and Phil's just like sitting there like,
I'm just gonna keep myself quiet.
best to do that.
Yep.
Well, it's funny that Mikey was talking about putting his kid down to go to sleep or whatever. You ever think about having a kid, or like how would?
Yeah, just not right now.
Okay.
I couldn't even imagine trying to take care of another person right now because I've been around kids my whole life, and I've helped raise nieces and nephews, and I've got a lot of siblings, so I know what that entails. And one day it'll come. It's just not today.
Yeah, I mean, I had my first daughter when I was 21, but like not everybody has to have their my parents didn't have me till they were in their like late 30s. Like
I don't think I have any kids, but that's just
you don't have to have kids, and there's no timeline. I mean, obviously you have them until you can't have them anymore, but like there's you're doing something you love right now, and it's like it would be hard to take care of a kid doing that. Like with Sean and I, like our kids are older at this point, so it's like it's not but I know Mikey, he loves doing this, but he has a baby. So, not that that's a problem, but you know what I mean? Like it kind of stops you from being able to do or go.
Well, it's like you're up until 6 and then the kid's getting up at like 6. So it's like sleep is being lost.
Turn him into a ghost hunter.
That's it. That's it.
And I think out of our team, I'm the only one that actually lives on his own, had nothing to, so it's actually really cool. I get to have the peace and quiet of, no offense, guys.
It's okay. Phil has somebody locked in his basement.
Yeah, he does.
I checked my cell phone. She's okay. That's messed up.
Because Phil's our like Ted Bundy. Like he's like everybody's always telling me like, oh, Phil's so cute, and I'm like, he's a sweet guy, and then it's like, but he's really Ted Bundy, right, Phil? Because you're. No, I'm just.
He's gonna snap and kill us all.
I know he's gonna.
Kalani, don't listen to anything they say, man.
He just wants to take a couple photos.
Oh man, that's really funny, dude. I'd probably fit the profile of like a serial killer.
I don't think you're a serial killer, Phil.
I know. I think it's funny though.
Confessions of a Facebook Live.
Folks, for everyone's watching, whatever they say, only believe some of it.
For legal purposes, this is not true.
He was like, I have computer work to do. I'll be a little bit late.
Well, Mike, it actually was a lot faster than I thought it was going to be, so I was pretty happy.
Yeah, they were compliant tonight.
Yeah, they were. I had to do this like test because I work for a medical field, and I was just clicking shit, and then I hit done, and then I was off by 1. It was a true and false one. I was like, yes, damn, done.
I'm just happy I didn't have any work to do tonight.
Ugh. Yeah.
So talking about podcasting now, you have your own podcast now. How's that going?
It is just another thing on the plate that I have to try and do every week. And I'm about to start another one that's just paranormal because Savannah is tired of talking about paranormal. And I was like, oh, I promise it won't just be paranormal. We will talk about all sorts of stuff. And like 3 out of the 5 is paranormal. And I'm like, okay, I will like redirect this to a separate one and we can focus on other stuff. So it's going really well though. Part of my problem is my perspective on numbers is very flawed. So it's like in terms of it's doing really well for it to be a new podcast, but in my eyes, really well is a lot different. So it's something that I'm trying to like keep telling myself, you just have to keep doing it and it'll get to the point you want it to get to. It's just, I'm so used to this other ballpark. It's hard to even look at this side.
Yeah.
Now, do you prefer doing a live podcast or recorded?
I do recorded because I'm very anal about sound. Like and we do in person because with virtual, there's so many factors of, between latency and connectivity, and just the equipment people are using. Whereas when we do it in person and pre-recorded, then I can control all of those factors and make it sound as good as I can. So just me being a perfectionist in terms of the technology side of it, I prefer in person and pre-recorded.
Yeah, we started off originally doing Zoom and record it and everything, but I kind of like the aspect to like people be able to like talk and say stuff too. I think it's kind of cool doing it live.
Except you can't censor anybody like me.
That's like when we used to have a different guy before Phil was around. He used to do it with me, and he would say some stuff. And like I said, luckily it was recorded because I had to edit out some of it.
Oh,
you're saved by the bell with it being recorded.
He was a tad bit problematic, and I mean, yeah, some of the things that came out of his mouth, but we wish him well.
I like the guy a lot, but it's like there's a time and a place for everything, you know. I mean, it's like, you know, you just don't want to like, you know, dive in, you know, with someone who you never met before. It's like, you know, give it some time, but still, when it comes to certain things, it's kind of like you want to reel in a little bit, just a little bit, you know. So
a little bit, just a little bit,
just a little bit, just a little bit,
just a lot.
Ever so slightly,
ever so slightly.
I'm gonna say that for Mikey.
So. Funny. When you go to the Bell, when are you getting there? Are you going to just get there Saturday or?
I don't know.
Ooh.
I barely know I know what I'm doing this week because I'll be here all week. But next week when I go to Massachusetts, I don't know if I will stop somewhere the night before and do something or what. So we will see. I don't know.
I keep telling everybody we have an Airbnb. And we're going to be hanging out from Friday till Monday. So anybody that wants to come over after the whatever, come on over.
It's going to be some weird, freaky stuff.
Yeah.
Not paranormal related, but weird, freaky stuff.
I think I'm busy. Now that
I don't think I can make that.
Oh, come on, man.
We've already gone over into the serial killer realm, and now he's telling me it's going to be freaky. So I might just.
It's exactly what it looks like and sounds like. You know, us pickle boys. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He doesn't even know what the pickle boys are.
That's what he doesn't.
That's what they call. That's the guys in the group. That's their little name for themselves.
Yes, it is.
That's because we went on a guy trip to Pickle Jar Antiques, which was then we started calling ourselves the Pickle Boys.
Oh, it's fantastic. And yes, I'm bringing the tied up blow up. Wait, what? No.
That's just his HOV lane passenger.
I like that. I'm so pumped now. I want like freaking next Friday to happen now. I really do. Like, I just want this whole week to just not happen and just go on to the next week.
It is next Friday already, ain't it? Holy shit.
I didn't even realize that until you just said that.
Isn't it fucking crazy? Like, shit.
I got so much stuff to do at work.
Yeah, work's been.
No, I know. I'm like, God, too much.
Yeah.
It's like ADHD, and it's like constant, just everything. It's like, you know, between ghost stuff and work stuff, it's like just constant.
So, Kalani,
I'm somebody that needs sleep. I can't be like you and go with no sleep. I gotta get some sleep.
He's 20 years younger than us, so
20.
Like, Kalani, how old are you?
I'm 24.
Oh, Jesus Christ! You make me look old. Dude, I thought you were like a little older than me. Like, I'll be 37 next month.
No,
you thought he was older than you?
Well, not like older, but closer to my age, rather, I should say. Yeah, 24. I don't even know what the hell that age was like back in the day. That sounds weird. God, we're all getting old. Oh man.
Seriously, I know.
So before you did ghost hunting and that, you were into politics, right?
Yeah, so I was a legislative assistant and a bill clerk for the Tennessee House of Representatives. That was my day job. There's just as much bullshit, just wrapped up differently.
Oh.
And like it is a blessing because being in that field, it does teach you a lot of social skills, and you have to be an expert at people. So I think that was a blessing before leading into this, is because there's a lot of that social interaction that you could only get in a setting like that I still use to this day. So I don't miss it, and I definitely enjoy what I do now a lot more, but it was important in my growth as an individual. So it was worth it.
Now, is that remember, like to college for?
So I went to college. I have a bachelor's in criminal justice and a concentration in homeland security. I was going to try and do counter cyber terrorism is something that I really wanted to do, but I didn't want to get stuck at a computer all day, which is kind of ironic because now I'm editing at a computer all day. But it's doing something else that it's for me and all of that, so it's a little bit easier to commit that time.
That's crazy. That's awesome. Criminal justice, dude. That's definitely amazing stuff. Like everybody that I actually talk with who do that field, it's like, wow.
Well, it's a really selfless field too, because like the pay to what you're actually having to do is nowhere close to what it should be.
Oh yeah.
And it because my grandfather was a detective, and that's kind of where the interest grew. But it's definitely a field where you have to be selfless in the sense of you're going to do a lot more work than you're going to get paid for.
Yes.
I work for a nonprofit, so I know all about it.
Well, I originally went to school for criminal justice. I didn't graduate though, but I remember them telling, like, I was going to try to go be a cop or whatever. And they were talking about, which you don't know any of the neighborhoods in Pittsburgh, but they were talking about like Rankin, which is not a good neighborhood in Pittsburgh. And they're like talking about starting you off at $8 an hour. This was back when I was 18 or whatever, obviously, but still, like, I'm not going to get shot for $8 an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't blame you. And it's like now you can be a cop without having a degree, but you get a higher pay rate if you have the degree. So it still probably doesn't weigh out to what you have to deal with, but there are people that have to do it and some that enjoy that selfless natured job. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, it's crazy because like my cousin Steve, he's a cop in Allen Park, Michigan, and just some of the things I've heard him say, I'm like, I could never. I seriously couldn't. I mean, I don't care how big you are or whatever. It's just it's a cruel world out there, man. It really is. And plus,
my dad was a deputy sheriff for 25 years, but he has his master's in teaching, but he moved to Florida because I was born and raised in Florida, and there was no jobs down there. It was like, it's not what it is now. And I mean, he got majorly underpaid for what he was doing, and the crap he'd come home and be telling during dinners, like, oh, this person, unalived themselves and it was all over the wall and like spaghetti, things like that. So maybe that's what's wrong with me.
And you know what's really it's crazy
clear right now on this podcast.
Yeah, like and I think like just to add on to that, Jen, I think with like our interest in like the paranormal, regardless if it's like an actual job or like a hobby, you just have to have some level of, I don't want to say darkness to you, but more of like a lot less unconventional and much more unorthodox, if that makes any sense.
I was raised Pentecostal, and my mom was she delivered people from evil, and I talked about it before. I won't get into it right now because I've talked about it many times, but I've been around a lot of weird shit. So, and then the cop thing with my dad, and just it explains a lot. This is therapy for me.
There's a lot of people that like paranormal that like true crime though, because it's a very similar vein. Because when you get into paranormal, you a lot of times have to explore a lot of crime and different criminal components and darker stuff along those lines. So it is not a far fetch for those two to be pretty closely related in interest groups.
Yeah, I don't like
that's like even going back with joking with Phil with the serial killers and that, like that all ties in too. Like everybody's like interested in that type of stuff too,
Oh yeah. Like I'm a hardcore horror fanatic and I love heavy metal music. Crazier, darker, the better. Dressing in dark colors.
You like long walks on the beach and feel like
you're long walks.
Those are fun, man. I mean, come on. They're nice and relaxing. Not all of them.
Yeah, I'm not just like we're not. I don't know. Like we're a bump in the night society. Like I don't know. I feel like it encompasses all kinds of things. Like I love to talk about Appalachian shit. That's like my jam. And I mean, we're in northern Appalachia, but I love that like I love West Virginia so much. Like down in the Smoky Mountains, like, and I love all that weird shit that goes on there and all those people. So, just anything like that and true crime and, like just everything. I'm not really so much into like extraterrestrials and UFOs and stuff. I mean, maybe a little bit, but I don't know. It's not my thing. Just personal preference. But I mean, I would still cover it because anything like that,
Kalani, you ever deal with any type of cryptids or anything?
Not really. I mean, I've had people that have wanted me to. I feel like it would be I don't know. I just don't have any desire to go knocking on trees in the woods. That's just me. Nothing against those folks, because we're out here looking for stuff that a lot of people tell us we're crazy for looking for, but it's just not my cup of tea. And maybe one day I might get into it and I might find the right person to segue me into that to where it is enjoyable and it is fun. But I have not done much to this point with aliens or cryptids, really. Now, I've been to a lot of the museums and like Mothman, Flatwoods Monster. I mean, I think West Virginia is just the result of there's nothing to do and all of this crazy shit. And like West Virginia might as well be its own country because of how the people are very unique.
Oh yeah.
The locations are very unique, and just the overall geographic regions are incredible. So I store my stuff in Nashville. I grew up in Nashville. I was born in Vegas, and I'm Hawaiian by blood descent. Sorry, my brain read it, and I had to answer it.
That's okay.
No, that's why I put it up here. Yeah.
So West Virginia is just. I've had so many just weird experiences in the state of West Virginia. Now, if you get up and towards like where the university is, and it's pretty similar to anywhere else you go, but
yeah,
you get in some of them small towns.
Yeah,
you walk into Walmart, and let me tell you, that is your cryptid hunting right there.
Anything off of 19, I love anything off of 19 because like Morgantown's only like I don't know an hour 45 minutes from us, and that's very populated and everything. But like you know, whenever I'm driving down to Tennessee, like to the Smoky Mountains, Gatlinburg, whatever, and we get on 19, and then like you start going down that road, New River Gorge, Summersville, all that shit. I'm like, oh, I just love to like turn off and like go see what I can discover, like some really backwoods people, which is kind of terrifying but exciting at the same time. I don't know how they would react.
Very much so.
Do you have any like haunted locations by you, like where you live?
The closest location we have that you could, I guess, rent out would be the Thomas House Hotel in Red Boiling Springs, which is about an hour and a half east. I've also been to the Walking Horse Hotel, which is south of Nashville. Nashville itself, there are places that are rumored to be haunted. Like I was like this close to investigating the Ryman Auditorium.
I've been there
but
before.
They just, it's not their cup of tea. It's not for their clientele, and they don't really want to bring. I mean, you can have the rumors and all of that, but when you're bringing somebody in, they're like, we don't really. So I think there is a lot more places that are haunted, but like the state capitol, for example, there's 2 people buried inside of the state capitol, and they were architects of the state capitol building, but they both hated each other. So they buried them on opposite sides of the building, and there's countless reports of people, what sounds like people arguing in the middle of the night, and the security guards go up there and respond to what they feel is somebody broke in, and there's nothing. So they believe it to be the 2 men hashing it out in their world.
Well, now that you're like a little bit more known in that, is it easier for you to get into places?
It is easier and harder at the same time, because now I've noticed that because they know who I am, they want me to pay more money.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's like on one hand, it does get me into more places and access to stuff that I may not have necessarily had. But on the other hand, places that I could have gone before and saved money or not had to pay as much, they now charge me more because they feel like they can get it, which I'm not really making that much, but they see the numbers and they're like, oh yeah, this guy's loaded. Let's Shanghai him.
Which makes no sense, because it's like, you'd think they'd want the exposure.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Some do, some get it. Like Adam Kimmel is a great example of somebody who gets it.
Yeah.
But
now,
there are
like
some
like a
locations.
huge amount that they charge you, or just like a not too much?
I have been, the highest I've ever been quoted for an additional fee for me to stream is $1,000 on top of the location fee. So then I'm obviously like, it's not worth it. I'll just go somewhere else.
Yeah.
But there's just been a few where it's like they sit here and advertise that they don't charge anybody extra, but then the moment you tell them how many people you have, it's like, here's your fee, because if you're going to make money, we got to make money. But like the counter argument is always, well, I'm still paying your rate, So you're going to make the money from that. And then secondly, anyone that watches this, out of the hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people that will see this, if they book that, that is a direct result of me coming here and showing them and exposing your place to them. So it's like, yeah, you can charge me your $250, but you just missed out on 10,000 because of all the people that you did not let see this. So some people are just bad at business.
I know for Blair Grand Midway, you brought in a lot of traffic for him.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of the Grand Midway. My wife hates the Grand Midway.
It's like one of my favorite places. I love it.
She loves Blair. Blair's a great guy, but she can't stand like the feng shui of the environment. Because everything is so packed in, and like each room has its own unique smell. She can't stand it. Like I can sleep there, no problem. You could put me anywhere in that hotel, and I can sleep fine. You can put me on the roof, and I'll sleep fine. But her, it's like pulling teeth to get it. And I have a funny story. So we went to the Grand Midway, and I didn't want to dye my hair because I'm very particular about my hair being healthy. It's like this weird thing I got. So I had those little clip-in keratin extensions. So she pulls them all out, and it's when I had that red hair, and we did it at the Grand Midway. So she's got alcohol to dissolve the adhesive, and she's pulling them out of my head, and she leaves this entire red ball of hair sitting in Blair's sink in his Shakespeare hotel. Because I told her, I was like, well, don't forget to grab that because that's going to look weird that there's like a huge handful of hair just sitting in his sink. So she left it. I don't know if he knew it was mine, but it looked like somebody was killed in his Shakespeare hotel because there's just like this huge gob of red hair sitting in his sink. So
he probably turned it into artwork.
I like slapped it on the wall and it's like
displayed somewhere.
That is so funny.
Yeah, we actually Sean and I spent our first year wedding anniversary at in the vampire room. I've never been there when it's been hot. I couldn't sleep well that night. But the last time we went there, we've slept there like 3 times. The last time we went there, I slept wonderfully. I think
it was after Crescent, I think. That one.
Oh, God.
We stayed in the like sea monster room, whatever the hell it was called.
Creature of the Black Lagoon?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sea monster.
My favorite's the werewolf one because the werewolf one's got the best bed.
That's badass. I'm the vampire one there. That's my favorite. I love the aesthetic of that whole thing, too. Oh.
It's always cold when I go though. I've never gone there when it's warm. It's like the rooms are warm, but like as soon as you go out in the hallway or in the canopy room, I'm like there's pictures of me and I'm just sitting there like he's trying to investigate. I'm like once I'm cold, I'm done. Like that everybody knows in the group. Once I'm cold, I'm done. Like no.
Now you went to the church too while you were there, right?
Yeah, the one that has all the dolls in it.
Yeah.
I had a lot of activity at that church and I actually
that's
saw
the same.
This weird like head. So if in the church, just to give you a quick layout, you've got the big open area where all the tables are, and then to your left you've got where it goes downstairs and he's got that giant wiener in the basement. Anyway, so on that corner there's like this little head that was peeking out and staring at me, which I don't see shadows often. So when I saw it I was like, it's a shadow. Like I got excited, but I'm like panning my camera and I see this head sticking out outside of this doorway. And then when it notices that I notice, I just see it shoot down towards the basement. So I'm like running over there to see if I could see if it was a person or there's nothing. So that was really cool. And we get weird knocks and I've had some other stuff happen in there. I've actually gotten more activity from the church than I have had from, I guess, the hotel collectively. But I mean, it's an interesting town. I've spent way too much time in Windber, Pennsylvania. Like I remember I went one week and they had like their wing festival, and then I was there for the 4th of July parade, and like I was literally just living in Windber, Pennsylvania.
I remember that. Yeah.
Well, wasn't Jen? Isn't Hannah from Windber?
No, Hannah's from Johnstown, which is kind of right by there.
It's pretty close.
Yeah. Whenever we're out there, like I think I told you this a long time ago. There's a buffet in Altoona. I'm just like
buffet, yeah.
Total fat kid going to this buffet, but I love the buffet. So
My fat kid buffet is located in Charlestown, Rhode Island. It's called the Nordic.
I like
the Nordic has unlimited lobster, full lobsters, and they've got steak, prime rib. They've got Ghirardelli chocolate and Haagen-Dazs ice cream for their dessert bar. It's like think of a casino in the sense that it's like upper echelon food, but it's a buffet. I think it's like 120 a person, but I make a pilgrimage every year to the Nordic up in Rhode Island.
Nice.
Sounds amazing.
There's that one in Lancaster that Sean's like, we're gonna go to this buffet in Lancaster, and like
It's called the Shady Maple Smorgasbord.
And I'm like, what's this gonna be? And I walk in, it's like a goddamn mall of like food.
Yeah, she wasn't ready.
I was like, no, I wasn't ready, and like I can't eat a lot at one time, which is very disappointing. I get really sad.
I think it's technically in Blue Ball too. I don't think it's really in Lancaster. It's in Blue Ball.
They have those weird ass names. Blue Ball.
You say Blue Ball?
That's the name of the town. I don't know, like them Amish people. They got some weird ass names of their towns, but you know they got good food, so whatever.
Speaking of that, along the similar vein, have you ever eaten at the Yellow Deli?
No, where's that at?
Never heard.
Okay, so the Yellow Deli is associated with the 12 tribes of Israel.
Ooh.
Some people allude to it to be very cultish, which, whatever. You can do your research. I won't dive into it here. But everything that they make is sourced by them.
Okay.
And it is some of the... I don't support the cause, I guess, per se, but let me tell you, the food is excellent. Like, if I had nothing going for me, it's like a socialist commune almost. Like, you don't get paid for the people that work there, but they're open 24/5. And I actually got invited to their ceremony, like their little, like, I don't even know what you call it. But I went, and they invited me to go. I didn't go. My wife told me I couldn't go. But the food was incredible. And they have this thing called banana milk. And
that sounds good.
It's good.
Where is this at?
They have some in New York. You'll have to look. They're all over the place. They're there's one in Chattanooga, Tennessee. The one I went to. So in Tennessee, there's Pulaski, Tennessee, which they have a plaque that has been, like those plaques they do for historical places that have the information about whatever it's talking about. Well, they actually have a reverse plaque as like a symbol that they shun the KKK, because that's where the KKK originated, was in Pulaski. So I was just going to look at the plaque because it's reversed as a sign that the city is like against the organization. But they have a Yellow Deli in Pulaski. They like to go to college towns, and that's just do a deep dive. Yellow Deli, go get some food. It's really good, and I could easily see why I would join if it was based off of just the food.
I think Pulaski, Sean, I think that's where
you got me sold on a food cult.
Sean, when we drove down last year to New Orleans, and we stopped, and I think we stopped in Pulaski because I didn't want to. It's below, like, because we went through Nashville, and I went, like, we kept going, and it was like right before you get to Alabama or something.
Yep.
Yeah, and we stayed at like the creepiest looking, like, I don't know, cheap hotel, but my God, the bed was amazing. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Like the best bed ever, but like
it was just like a Motel 6 or something.
They like lived in the hotel. There's like people working on the hotel. They had a huge like creepy van and like school bus outside. I don't know what was going on, but the bed was comfortable.
That's awesome.
Well, then we traveled through Mississippi the next day, and it was like being in a different country. I couldn't understand it. Like, the Cajun drawl was so crazy.
Mississippi's a wild place. It's a wild place. I don't understand what they're saying half the time. We pulled over. He was like, "Oh, look at this. This is some kind of place. Like, it says it's a tourist place." It was like an old
antique store or something that we went into.
We pull up. This woman's like screaming about the food being great, and I go in, and it like looks like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And there's like, but the like food smelled really good, and we're looking at the antiques, but it was terrifying. And like,
well, the one lady who kept talking to me in the parking lot, I just kept laughing. It's like I was like, yeah, I had no clue what she was saying.
Her accent was so strong. I was like, what? And then we went to that, so I don't know, it was some like chain down there, and like they were like screaming at us because I didn't know what they were saying. They're like, they're asking us the questions because they're like, they're giving us scooping stuff on our plates. And I'm like, what? Because like I can't fucking hear. And I'm like, what? And they're just like screaming at us. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm like being assaulted. I just want to eat a goddamn food. But it's okay. We survived.
That's awesome. Oh man. That's like the restaurant that
less weird.
Like the restaurant that Sean, myself, and the other Sean went into in Weston, West Virginia. That was like probably one of the most welcoming like luncheons that we've ever actually been in. It's like, oh hey, come on in, have a seat, come on down.
That's because they have the asylum in
we
town.
had a hearse with us because one guy has a hearse, and everybody wanted to come outside and take pictures of the hearse and all.
Oh, it's great. And the biggest pancakes ever. These things are like that fucking thick.
Yeah.
I love how we like went from paranormal to food. That is just
Mhm.
that's so
That's
us.
an easy
That's so
segue
us.
for me.
We like to eat.
Yeah. That's so us.
Listen, I have this thing where I don't take restaurant recommendations from somebody that's skinny. Cause I mean I'm a bigger dude and I put on some weight being on the road, but it's just like I know that I can trust somebody that's had a lot of food and they're telling me that somewhere's good. I can trust that individual because they have gone through the metrics of seeing what good and bad food is because we're looking at it. So I embrace that. So if you're skinny and you give me a food recommendation, I probably ain't gonna go. But if you got a little bit more to love, you got a little bit more to love, I'm gonna relate to you and be like, all right, I know they're not trying to deceive me here.
Well, that's like Jen was saying. If you're ever in Lancaster, Blue Ball, or whatever, you got to get a Shady Maple Smorgasbord. That's definitely a high recommendation there.
Yeah. Sean's a big boy. He's
over 300, 6'2", so.
I'm about 5'9" and 178, something like that. I don't know.
Okay, so don't listen to Phil.
Yeah, don't take Phil's recommendation.
I can recommend you some good bourbon, but not some good food. I'm like the alcoholic of the whole team. You're always out partying and drinking. Like, no, not all the time. But
that's because if I have half of a drink, I'm like lightheaded and I want to go to sleep. So I just avoid it. I'm already obnoxious enough.
Same.
Love you.
Same.
That's a cool thing too, because like all of us have our likes and our dislikes about stuff. You know, it's just like
Yeah, I commend you because the team thing. I know you like my thing. I can't do it because I can deal with somebody. I can deal with people in spurts. But if you told me I got to be stuck with somebody for X amount of time other than my wife, I'm dreading it. And I like being able to have people that I want to come, and I can at that point, it's like, okay, now go home. I don't have to see you anymore. I do like that, and that's why it works so well for me is because I don't have to deal with somebody consistently. So I commend you for that because I couldn't do it.
It's you know, we've all gotten into it. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah. I mean, I think we're good now. Like we've had people in the past, like we had to get the right group. You know what I mean? And I mean, even to this day, we still will bicker. And sometimes we got to be like, okay, is this because we just came back from like extremely haunted place that's affecting everybody's mood? Or is it just because we need to work out some kind of problem? But like, we always end up working it out. And but I mean, it's not easy. It's definitely not easy all the time, but you know.
Exactly. And it's just personalities too, you know. I mean, not every person's going to mesh with somebody else's, you know, we all have our ways of handling things verbally, you know. I mean, I'm pretty like quiet when it comes to certain stuff unless I have a reason to open up, and it's always in the most respectful way possible because I hate confrontation. I don't like it. I never did. I mean, even whenever I was a kid, I couldn't stand it. But now I'm older now. I'm like, you know what? I'm 37 almost, and if I have something to say, I'll say it, but I'll say it in a very, very like, look, you know, this is how I feel, but I don't expect you guys to feel the same way. I love you all to death. This is just my opinion, and you can go with it if you want to. I'm totally cool with that, you know, but that's
and I'm like, fuck you, you prick.
That's like me and Mikey are like the good cop, bad cop, and I'm the bad cop. I'm the asshole out of us.
But you don't have to be the asshole. That's the thing.
Somebody has to be.
Well, and sometimes I gotta calm him down. Sometimes I'd be like, Sean, you're being.
Sean can be very aggressive with how he delivers certain things. I'm not gonna lie, he's a wonderful guy. I love him to death, but it's like, bro, chill.
That's something I had to learn because when I first started, I would just tell people off and tell them exactly what I thought. And I still do that, but you have to do it in a way that you're not looking like a complete dick because people look for you. Like there's so many people, like there's kids that watch me and I don't want to be a bad influence on them to where they're just out here cussing everybody out. As much as I may want to sometimes, like you just have to kind of bite your tongue and turn your cheek. And, you know, that's just something that I've had to learn, but that's just part of growing up, I guess.
Yeah, I have to do that at work all the time because I run a department and there's times where you just want to be like, I would like to tell you where to stick it, but no, but like, be like, no, let's work on this. We'll set these goals and we'll try this again.
So you need to do that at home too. See, me and Jen are both very outspoken. So.
Well, see, like on my Discord channel, I made a sub channel that says HR department. So I tell people that if they have a complaint, go to my Discord and leave the complaint for HR department. Now, little do these people know that
You're
I am
HR?
the only. I'm HR, but I'm the only person that's allowed to comment on that channel. So it's locked to just me. So if they go and join my Discord, I've literally had people that join it. They try and type a complaint. They can't access the channel. So then they leave the Discord. So I just made them waste like another 2 minutes of their life signing up to Discord, all just to try and leave a complaint.
My job.
That's enjoyable though in itself.
Opinion. Yeah, it's since working where I'm at now, I used to be a lot more closed off, but I'm a lot more like I changed a lot in the last like 7 years. It's a little not like as much as people think, but like if something's really dicking me off, I'm like, I'm just gonna fucking say it,
Well, you met me about 7 years ago, Phil. Maybe that's why.
That's true. Sean's like my brother. I'm like the younger brother, and I'm like, but it works out. It's just like and I look at it this way too. Like to me, like if I didn't care, I wouldn't say certain things. Because you have to like like it's like my parents. My dad will say shit all the time because he's worried. I'm like, look, I know you're a father and you care about it. I'd rather somebody just say it right then and there. Even if I don't agree with it, you're caring enough to actually like bring it up to me, because otherwise how the hell am I going to learn, So
Yeah.
That's it.
Thank you for that tip, Phil.
With Phil.
Yeah, I can be like the biggest pain in the ass out there. Look at these guys know that. I say dumb shit all the time.
You're fine. It's all right.
Philosophical Phil. That's what
That's how he ropes you in. That's his Bundy tactics.
Yeah. He's like, I'm so thoughtful. Come into my van.
Taking like a red van to spray paint, like, hey kids, free candy.
Free philosophy with Phil.
Yeah.
Rub the lotion on your skin.
Yeah. There always has to be that one guy in every group.
So you're at Madison tonight. Do we have anything going on tonight?
Yeah, so once I get off of here, I will be investigating probably till like 2 or 3 in the morning.
Nice.
Maybe a little bit later, but
yeah. What time you usually like stay up? Like how late are you usually pretty up whenever you do these types of things?
The most that I'll do if we're getting a lot of activity and I'm not tired, I've pushed it to 6 or 7 before.
Damn.
But I like to try and go to bed at like 4-ish so that I wake up at 12 and I get my 8 hours of sleep. But it's crazy because I'm literally like dead on my air mattress and you can watch me on camera and people are like, what is laying on the bed? They think it's like a body because it is a body, but it's like me asleep. So people are like, I've been here for 3 hours and that caterpillar hasn't moved because I have this mummy bag. So I literally just look like this giant caterpillar laying on top of an air mattress in the middle of this old asylum. And people are confused because they're just scrolling on their phone and they stumble into a surveillance camera with a fat caterpillar on top of an air mattress. And there's just a lot of confusion with that. And I think that's part of the draw is like, you never know what you're going to stumble into.
Oh, that's hilarious. I'm seeing like a big caterpillar just chilling.
And like sometimes I'll move my legs like in the way that a caterpillar would. And I'll like inch along the bed just to confuse people. But, I like to have a little fun with it.
Oh, yeah, man. You gotta have a good time.
People like weird shit, too. They
love weird shit.
Uh-huh.
No matter how weird you are, there is somebody or something out there for you.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I tumble onto the wrong side of TikTok. Literally every fucking... I'll send videos to people. They're like, "Why is that on your For You page?" I'm like, "Dude, I don't know." Like,
it says the one out here making fart videos all the time.
Look, shut up. That's my claim to fame.
I'm out of this conversation entirely.
But like some of these videos, I'm just like, what life choices did I make that this is what's coming across my page? Yeah, but the weirder the better. They're the ones that have like millions of freaking likes on their video, and they're like.
Social media sucks you in, and it does not let you go.
It knows exactly what you're looking for.
people are always like wanting to take a cleanse from social media. They'll announce it. I'm taking a break from social media.
It never happened.
And I'm like, I'm not fucking taking a break from social media.
This isn't the airport. You don't need to announce your departure.
Yeah.
Just go.
Like, I don't get that. Like, just deactivate your account. That's fine.
Uh-huh.
But like, I'm not leaving it because I love this weird shit. And like, I don't care.
I couldn't imagine you without social media or without a cell phone in general.
Oh my god! And one time I lost my phone for like a few minutes, and I like had a panic attack. I'm like, "Where's my phone? Where's my phone?" Like, I can't. It's an addiction.
Remember when?
I'm okay with that.
Remember whenever flip phones were a thing years ago? You know, like I had a flip phone at the age of like 17. It was like the greatest thing ever.
Well, like flip phones, you can't get the same level of hanging up on somebody like you get with a flip phone. Like, snap that thing shut. You're like, screw you. And you just clap it shut. You can't get that with the smartphones, but the smartphones are wonderful. So.
Oh yeah, they are. Oh man, bump in the night. Honestly, please never leave. Aw, we're here to stay.
I mean, I'm gonna have to sleep and probably poop eventually, but.
Ew. They were indestructible too. Yes, they were. I think there was like a video I was watching years ago where this dude actually like dropped a flip phone off of like a 5-story building or something, and it, had a few chips off of it, but he was still able to make a phone call like it was nothing. I'm like, dude.
I had to talk my dad into not having a flip phone. We were in T-Mobile for like 2 hours. And I'm like, Dad, just get a smartphone. You'll like it. You'll like it. For 2 hours, me and the guy were working on him. And eventually, and it's still like the crappiest smartphone you can buy. I don't know what his problem is. I'm just like, please just get an iPhone. Like, just my kids have an iPhone. I have an iPhone. Like, please just join the dark side and get an iPhone. No, they just get like, but at least they have smartphones because there used to be flip phones for them too. Set in their ways. But,
yeah.
Well, we don't want to hold you up too much tonight. We know you got a busy night tonight. Anything you want to promote?
If you ever want to know what I'm doing, I've got social media across everything that's under Kalani Ghost Hunter. KalaniGhostHunter.com is how you can find all those links. But I'll see everybody at the Bell Mansion on March 4th.
Hell yeah, brother.
yeah, it's about damn time.
Right? Holy crap.
We were supposed to do Waverly or something with you originally.
Indiana State, I think is what it was.
Yeah, that was one of the other ones
Indiana
I talked to
State.
you about too.
I'm a moving target. It's nothing personal. It's just like, if it happens, it happens. If not,
I'm like, it'll happen
month.
Eventually. I knew eventually it would happen. So now it's happening. So
there you go.
Excited, man. It's gonna be awesome.
He's gonna come out to our weird Airbnb party.
He'll be like,
I'll have clothes on.
His water pistol. He'll be like,
we will check on the Airbnb visitation here.
The Pickle Boys are gonna do some weird shit.
I'm just gonna leave and just like drive home to Pittsburgh.
You gotta have fun. We have a good time. I'm really looking forward to this.
But yeah, make sure if March 4th come out, see everybody. We're all be out there. Thanks for coming on, Kalani. You have a safe night. You have a good night.
Oh yeah,
thanks
brother.
for having me.
Meet you in person, brother.
Same. Thank you guys so much.
That's awesome, man.
All right, man.
What the hell was that?
I don't know.
It's like,
Thanks for watching. And don't forget, you can find us here, and here, and here. Don't forget, everybody needs a little bump in the night.
Hello.